comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
Ooh, what's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast, the special 150th episode of a Funko Popcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, we have a jam-packed podcast for you for the 150th episode, as we are discussing all 3 days of SDCC 2022 exclusive pops, or as they were taglining it, Funkoville 2022 pops. I don't understand about that, but it is what it is. Funko does their own thing. But besides that, we also have the top 10 Funko Pops of June 2022, which is pretty crazy. These have been some jam-packed pops for the month of June. Before we actually talk about each day of the Funko Pops, we should kind of give an overall opinion of how we thought the SDCC reveals are, or at least I'll let MD explain his thoughts on the SDCC reveals overall.
I guess overall, just a little bit lackluster. I mean, it seemed like when it was over, it didn't feel like it should have been over. I felt like there just wasn't enough, but there was a decent amount of sodas, which is a good thing, I guess. But yeah, overall, just not amazing, but also not terrible.
It's funny that you mentioned lackluster, because we did have a conversation on Messenger about me having a theory of why SDCC was lackluster, but I was going to save it for the pod. And it's the simple question. Obviously, you would have seen what the shared sticker looks like. When you look at that shared sticker, what does it remind you of?
I don't know, Emerald City Comic Con maybe with the green, but besides that, I'm not quite sure.
Exactly. Emerald City Comic Con, because of the fact that ECCC is 3 weeks after SDCC, and I truly believe that there is going to be more pops for SDCC, and they decided to split it in half so that they can give it to Emerald City Comic Con also, since they are both summer convention exclusives. And I truly believe also with those Emerald City Comic Con pops that we would get the exact same shared sticker with that green background, and then it'll have its own Comic Con exclusive sticker that you can get when you get the pops at the con, which explains also why certain lineups, like example, Disney only had one Funko Pop for SDCC. There was only like 2 games pops for SDCC. We had a ton of anime pops for SDCC, so don't expect anime pops for Emerald City Comic Con, essentially. And just that's why it was a little lackluster, because a lot of lineups happened for SDCC, but then there wasn't a lot of lineups that we usually get for SDCC. We can now move over to day 1 of SDCC reveals, which happened on June 14th, which the list of pops we have here, we have ourselves first, the SDCC Toucans, 2 new variants, one being a pirate, the other being a guitar player, which both of those will be shared to the Funko shop. Jeremy Jam from Parks and Recreation for the television lineup, which will be shared to Walmart. A glow-in-the-dark digital stand from South Park, which will be shared to Entertainment Earth. Hugsy the Penguin from Friends, which will be shared to Target. Peacemaker with peace sign from the HBO Max series Peacemaker, which will be shared to the Funko shop. A 6-inch Young He doll from Squid Game, which will be shared to the Funko shop. Ted Lasso from Ted Lasso, which will be shared to the Funko shop. A glow-in-the-dark Demogorgon from Stranger Things, which will be a part of a pop and bag bundle, which will be shared to the Funko shop. A Bambi with Butterfly for the Disney lineup, which will be shared to Hot Topic. And last but not least, for day 1, we have ourselves a glow-in-the-dark Supersonic from Sonic the Hedgehog, which will be shared with Walmart. So kicking off with the SDCC Toucans, and I'm actually pretty pumped about these pops. Normally, the SDCC Toucans are a little meh, but I feel like these are actually the best toucan pops we've gotten in a while, at least. Better than the astronaut, better than the superhero outfit, and better than one of the t-shirt, in my opinion. I think the idea of the toucan with the guitar is so awesome, especially when you have like the cube that is the SDCC logo acting like an amp. Then we got ourselves Jeremy Jam. You just got jammed. This pop is great. I enjoy this pop very much. Parks and Recreation, I know I'm not as big of a fan as I am with The Office, but I do like the love that Parks and Rec is getting for Comic-Con exclusives and I guess pops overall. And I do enjoy this one more than the FunCon pop we got last year, which I believe was a variant of Leslie, just because of the fact that we have a brand new character here as a Funko Pop instead of, let's say, we get a brand new character with an existing pop in a 2-pack like we got with Target Con. And then, like I mentioned, the Leslie we got for FunCon last year. This is a brand new character that hasn't been made into pop form yet. I love the facial expression and him pointing at you, ready to say, you just got jammed. And I think this is going to actually be a pretty decent seller as terms to not only the Parks and Recreation lineup, but the entire SDCC convention. Digital Stan from South Park, and this is okay. I mean, I like the idea of it being glow in the dark. It would have been cool to get a newer character, especially because of the fact that this year does mark the 25th anniversary of South Park and when it first started. So I feel like they could have done some sort of cool pop to kind of commemorate the 25th anniversary. Then we got Hugsy the Penguin, which I don't know too much about Hugsy the Penguin because I've only watched one season of Friends. This is more up of MD Shady's alley, but I believe I'm not mistaken because of a GIF I seen in the comments when this was posted on social media, was that this is like a stuffed plush that one of the characters gets. It's a pretty cool looking Funko Pop, especially for a lineup like Friends. Then we got ourselves the Peacemaker with the peace sign, and this is a little bit lackluster, mainly because we already got a couple of Peacemakers already that were really cool. You had the Peacemaker with the shield, that was a WonderCon exclusive. You had the Peacemaker with Eagly on his side there, and then you had a couple other versions, him in like the underwear, I guess, for the Suicide Squad lineup. So just to have him standing there with the peace sign, it's just like, did it really need to be made, especially as a Comic-Con exclusive? Not necessarily. Then we got the 6-inch Young He doll from Squid Game, and this is awesome. And this is awesome for a couple of reasons. First, because I got this prediction right without looking at any dirt sheet pages. So I'm excited about getting a prediction like that correct. And the fact that it's something that should be a Comic-Con exclusive because it is a part of a very popular segment, I guess, in the TV series. It's in like the first challenge of red light, green light. So people remember that very well compared to the other challenges. And I like the detail overall. I wouldn't be surprised if this pop sells out when it launches on the Funko shop on, I believe it's July 21st. Then we got Ted Lasso, which I have never seen the series. I know a lot of people are pumped about a Ted Lasso pop, though, because of the comments on social media. But to me, I don't know. Like, if you gave this pop to me without the box and you tried to have me guess what this character was, I wouldn't have thought of Ted Lasso. I honestly thought it would have been like Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec because it kind of looks like him. But this is okay. We got the pop and bag bundle of the glow-in-the-dark Demogorgon, which this is a little meh. I mean, we had this volume 1 of season 4 released recently, and actually, as this podcast gets released, volume 2 will be released. Did we need the Demogorgon? Not really. We could have easily had a character we already would have known of by watching season 4. I think this will sell out because it's a part of a pop and bag bundle, and it seems like all the pop and bag bundles have sold out on the Funko shop. And even though it has not been confirmed, and especially because there's no glam shot on the Funko app yet, but there probably will be by the time this podcast releases, or maybe sometime after this podcast releases. But I do believe this will end up being a limited piece count because every pop and bag bundle has been limited to 3,000 pieces, including the Masters of the Universe one for WonderCon. And then you had the Ratatouille one that recently released. We got Bambi with the butterfly, and this is okay. I mean, it's cool to see some new, like not new Disney, but new Disney as terms of some licensors that we barely see instead of let's see what Disney pop we get from the recent movie that just came out. So it's cool that we have a different version of Bambi because we don't get Bambi pops all that often. And last but not least, and what I feel may be the most hyped pop of day one, at least from what I've seen in the comments, maybe the Squid Game pop was also very hyped, is the glow-in-the-dark Supersonic from Sonic the Hedgehog, which this is really cool for a couple of reasons. First off, this year, I believe, is the 20th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is where Supersonic made its debut in the Sonic series. It's glow in the dark, which the other Supersonic pop, which has risen in price for reasons that most people know of already, it did not glow in the dark. So to have this one glow in the dark is really, really awesome. I kind of wish, though, that the base was a little bit better. Like, I mean, maybe instead of having the clear stand, it could have had a cool base like that one Dragon Ball pop we got a couple of years ago for SDCC was, where it was like, maybe you can have some sort of energy base instead of a flame base, and then there's some energy around Supersonic also. I think that would have definitely made this pop a little bit better, but still cool that we were even seeing some Sonic the Hedgehog pops for Comic-Con. And before we move on to what MD Shady has to say, I might as well bring up what my favorite and least favorite from this day was. My least favorite probably had to be the Ted Lasso, because I literally had no reaction to it whatsoever. And my favorite, I actually will have to go with the Toucan playing guitar. I was thinking Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay, day one, here we go. So starting off with the Toucans, this is cool. This is nice and refreshing for the Toucans to have something kind of exciting going on with their posing. I think that they missed out on an opportunity a little bit with this, though. They do have the like rock star guitar Toucan where he has his foot up on the Comic-Con logo box. And I don't know why they didn't do that with the pirate as well, considering it could be almost like a spin on like Captain Morgan, or when you see pirates with their foot up on like a barrel or like a chest full of gold. I think that that's just an opportunity that was missed. But I do think that both of these pops look really awesome, and they are definitely the best of the Toucans that we've seen so far. And then we have Jeremy Jam from Parks and Rec. And when this first got announced, I almost dookied in my pants because I thought it was a little dicky at first because it looks just like him, or what I would imagine a pop of him would look like. So I got really excited and then realized, no, this can't be a little dicky. But this is a cool pop. I do like this. I think it looks good. Then we have the digital Stan, and this is okay. I do like that it's glow in the dark, but I feel kind of like DK said, we probably could have got something really cool for South Park, for San Diego Comic-Con, considering the anniversary of the show. But this isn't bad. I do like it, and the glow in the dark aspect is definitely pretty cool as well. Then we have the only pop from the con that was actually spoiled for me through dirt sheet pages, and it's Hugsy from Friends. And this is pretty dang awesome. This is exactly how a con pop should be. It's a character that isn't even a character in the show. It's literally just a plush doll that Joey owns. This is amazing. I really enjoy this a lot. I'm glad to see something like this. And then we have Peacemaker with the peace sign, and this is okay. We've definitely seen some pretty decent Peacemaker pops. I don't think a lot of people are going to be super hyped over this. I do think that if you only want one Peacemaker pop, though, that this one wouldn't be a terrible one to get. I do like how it looks. And then we have the young He doll from Squid Game, and this is really cool as well. I'm glad that DK got the prediction right for this because this pop looks great. And I mean, it made sense considering what DK had explained in that video, how we kind of already seen it without seeing it with having like the large version. So this is awesome. I think that people are definitely going to want to get this. The Squid Game lineup of pops was a really cool line of pops. And then this felt like it was missing. So it's great to get it for San Diego Comic-Con. Then we have Ted Lasso, and this is pretty cool. This definitely looks like Ted Lasso, in my opinion. I haven't seen the show, but I've only heard good things. I know they won a few awards, I believe. Then we have the glow-in-the-dark Demogorgon, part of the Pop and Bag bundle, and this is disappointing for me. Huge Stranger Things fan, and I own almost every single Stranger Things Funko Pop, so this will definitely make it into my collection, but I felt like we could have seen something from the new season, or we could have seen pops that people have been asking for, like Murray, Bald Eagle. Like, there's so many different characters that we could have seen that we haven't seen. I'm not too upset about it because it's like, okay, cool. Stranger Things pop, can add it to my collection. Glow in the dark, I think, makes sense for the Demogorgon. He doesn't actually glow in the dark, but I think that it's just a pop that makes sense in my opinion. So yeah, this is going to have to end up in my collection. And then we have Bambi with the butterfly, and DK summed this up pretty well, that we're not seeing just another Stitch pop or something like that. We're seeing Bambi, which is cool. We very rarely see Bambi pops or really Disney pops like this. And then lastly, for day one, we have the Supersonic first appearance, and this pop is sweet. I like this a lot better than the other Supersonic pop, and it's glow in the dark, which is awesome. I think that the glow should be okay. I don't really remember exactly how yellow glows, but I feel like it's probably pretty good considering how close of a color it is to green. So this is awesome. I really like this. I'm going to have to try to get my hands on this pop. I guess my least favorite from day one, I'm going to go with Peacemaker, just because we already have variations of him, and I don't think this is necessarily needed, though it's not a terrible pop. And my favorite pop from day one has to be Hugsy. Sonic definitely does come close, but I think that Hugsy was just so out of the blue. It's something that I wouldn't have ever expected to be turned into a Funko Pop.
All right, so moving on to day 2 of SDCC reveals, which happened June 15th. First off, we got ourselves Starfire from Justice League, which will be shared to Hot Topic. A Penguin and Duck Ride pop rides from Batman Returns, which will be shared with GameStop. Enmu from Demon Slayer, which will be shared with Hot Topic. Butterfly Mode Super Chocho from Boruto, which will be shared with the Funko Shop. Gran Torino from My Hero Academia, which will be shared with Box Lunch. Goku Driving Exam, which will be shared with GameStop. Queen Historia from Attack on Titan, which will be shared with FYE. Yuji Itadori with Slaughter Demon, which will be shared with GameStop. A Purge Trooper from Obi-Wan Kenobi, which will be shared with Walmart. Cassian Andor for the upcoming Disney Plus series of Andor, which will be shared with Target. And last but not least, we have a Flocked Krishantin from the Book of Boba Fett, which will be shared with GameStop. Kicking off with Starfire. This is actually a pretty wicked pop. I'm not really into the whole Justice League / DC Comics lineup, but this is a really cool mold with the fire base, and especially how it's going with like the hair also. So awesome. That orange skin with the green eyes just pops out so well from each other. And then the outfit is really cool also with kind of like the energy that's going on that her hands are making. I think it's a really cool pop. And I truly believe that out of the 4 pops that are being shared to Hot Topic, this is going to be the first one that sells out, in my opinion. Then we got the Penguin with the Duck Ride from Batman Returns. And this is actually pretty cool. More Danny DeVito pops, which a lot of people are hyped about. I like the overall pop ride with the duck. I think turning that into popified form looks really, really cool. And it's something that I didn't really expect. We got Enmu from Demon Slayer, and this is a really detailed pop. I had to Google this character because I couldn't exactly remember this character when I had watched Demon Slayer once through. And then I know in the comments there was a bit of mixed hype because everyone was expecting a certain character from Demon Slayer to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, in which this is why you don't look up dirt sheet pages, because you're probably most of the time going to be let down from stuff like this. But this is great. And I think it will sell well because it's Demon Slayer. There's still a decent amount of hype, especially with the Funko Pops. I believe Demon Slayer probably has more hype in terms of the Funko Pops nowadays than even, let's say, Dragon Ball Z does. Then we got Gran Torino from My Hero Academia. Another Funko Pop that I had predicted during our predictions video that I got correct without looking at any dirt sheet pages. And this is great. I love that they're making Gran Torino. I think this pop translated well into pop form with the hairstyle, the mask, and even the pose that's involved with the kind of smoky base as Gran Torino is about to jump up. I'm really curious to see how this looks in person because of the size of the pop. Will it be like accurate to your regular 4-inch pop, or will it be a little bit smaller, like maybe a Pokemon pop, because of how short the character is in the series if you've seen My Hero Academia? Then we have the Butterfly Mode Super Chocho from Boruto, and this is okay, especially because I would have never expected a pop of like Boruto for a Comic-Con exclusive. I don't know how well this is going to sell because there's a ton of stuff being shared to the Funko Shop, and I feel like this might get lost in the shuffle. Then we got the Driving Exam Goku from Dragon Ball Z. This is a pretty comedic pop, I would say. Like, I can tell without even seeing the episode that like Goku is probably going for a driver's test and something went wrong with the car, and now he's laughing about the whole incident with like the way his eyes are closed, which I really like that detail of how he's in the middle of laughing with the way his eyes close without showing like his mouth, because the majority of Funko Pops do not have mouths. Queen Historia from Attack on Titan. This is okay. I mean, we had the Attack on Titan pops that were announced at Funko Ween last month, and those were some very detailed pops. But then when you put this pop with it, I mean, probably a new character, I would assume, because it's nothing like what we've seen before with Attack on Titan. But when you compare the detail of this pop to the other ones, it's not even close to being as cool. We got the Jujutsu Kaisen Yugi pop, and this is okay also. We seen a couple variants of this character last month at Funko Ween when those wave of pops for Jujutsu Kaisen got announced. And I don't know, this is like number 4 already, so I'm kind of already bored of this brand new lineup of pops of Jujutsu Kaisen with like the 4th variant of this character. We got the Purge Trooper from Obi-Wan Kenobi. this is pretty decent, especially because today, as we were recording this podcast, was the, I guess you can say, series finale at the moment of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so it's cool that they're actually bringing out an Obi-Wan Kenobi instead of having us wait until, pretty close to when the hype would die down for the show. Is it something like a Grand Inquisitor that I kind of wish that we would see as a Funko Pop? Maybe not exactly, but I don't know how well this will sell either. Cassian Andor, this is a little meh. I don't exactly know how well this one will sell either because it's a little bit simplistic. I could probably guarantee you that there will be way better pops for Andor than this pop when that set releases, assuming probably week to week announcements when that series gets released. And last but not least, for day 2 reveals, we have ourselves Flocked Krishantin from the Book of Boba Fett, a Funko Pop that a lot of people have been requesting because the Book of Boba Fett was awesome, and the one pop we wanted was Krishantin, and finally we got it, and it's flocked. Amazing. I love the different shadings of gray. I think they did a pretty excellent job with this pop, and this definitely is going to sell out when it gets shared with GameStop. My least favorite pop, the Cassian Andor, just because it's a little bit plain and basic, and that we're probably going to get better looking Andor pops when new sets of pops for that series comes out. And my favorite has to be the Krishantin because that's amazing. And the fact that I was only one Comic-Con off for getting this prediction right because I predicted this for Star Wars Celebration this year.
Okay, so starting off day 2, we have Starfire, and this is a really cool looking pop. I think that DK discussed it pretty well with that like fire base that looks really good. It's not what we normally see with a fire base, which I think is perfect this way. I like the subtle changes that make it look a little bit more comic booky, I guess you could say. And just the colors, the way they are, definitely really pop. Then we have the penguin on the duck ride, and this is pretty wicked. I like this. Batman Returns. Some people like it, some people don't like it, but this is a cool pop. I think that the way that the ride itself is also popified is great. Overall, this thing is wicked. Then we have the Demon Slayer pop, and this is pretty cool. I really like how the pose is and the way that the jacket is kind of swaying in the wind a little bit. And I don't know, there's just something about this. The details with the stuff going on with the face looks really cool. These anime pops are definitely getting way better than they've been in the past. And then once we thought we had gotten so many My Hero Academia pops, we get another one with Gran Torino. And this is pretty sweet. This is a cool looking pop. And I mean, wow, there's just so many awesome pops for My Hero Academia now and con exclusives as well that are awesome. So that's great. Then we have the Boruto pop, and this is pretty cool. I like the way that this pop looks. I feel like we've seen a lot of different Boruto pops, but we haven't quite seen one like this, I guess. So this is a cool pop, and it makes sense to be a con exclusive. And then we have the driving exam Goku, and this is pretty decent. I like how, like DK discussed, how instead of just having the full eyes, they are squinted, which definitely does kind of set the scene for what's going on, which is great. This is an awesome looking pop. And then we have the Attack on Titan pop. And yeah, I wouldn't have even known this is Attack on Titan if it didn't say it in the corner, because it just doesn't really look like any other of the Attack on Titan pops that we've seen, I guess, with the newer wave or even with the OG pops. So I don't know. This isn't a bad pop. Then we have the Jujutsu Kaisen pop, and this is okay. I don't know if I would consider this like a con pop. There's nothing super special going on with it, in my opinion. So I don't know, not one of my favorites, that's for sure. And then we have the Trooper from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this is an okay pop. I think that it would have been cool to get a different character maybe from Obi-Wan, but this is definitely decent, and I know a lot of people are definitely going to be pretty hyped for this and want to get it. Then we have the Andor pop, and this is okay. I think that DK is kind of right, though, that once the show's out and there's a wave of pops, we'll probably end up seeing a better Andor than this one. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad pop, and it's always cool to see a pre-release, I guess, con pop similar to this. And then we have Krishantin, and this is wicked. I'm so excited about this. It's flocked, which is just so cool. They could have made it so it wasn't flocked, but they did make it flocked, which is awesome. It makes sense. Obviously, it's a Wookiee. And everybody, I think, loved this character from the Book of Boba Fett. So it was just a matter of time before we got to see this pop. And now it's finally here for San Diego Comic-Con, and I couldn't really see a better place for it to be released. So for day 2, my least favorite has to be Andor, just because I do think we will get better versions in the future. And generally, San Diego Comic-Con pops, if it's a variant of a character, it should be like the one you want to get. So that's the only reason. And then my favorite pop from day two, Chrysantin or Chrysantin, however the hell it is pronounced. This is a great pop, obviously being flocked. I think a lot of people definitely want to see this pop. And there's quite a bit of detail. I mean, this pop looks amazing.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code of Funko Popcast for 10% off.
All right, moving on to the third and final day of SDCC 2022 exclusive reveals on June 16th. These were announced. So kicking off, we have ourselves a metallic Charmander from the Pokemon lineup, which will be shared with FYE. A Spider-Man 2099 for the Spider-Man video game, which will be shared with Amazon. He Who Remains, which will be shared with Target, and a 10-inch glow-in-the-dark Ms. Minutes from Loki, which will be shared with the Funko Shop. Silk for the Amazing Spider-Man lineup, which will be shared with Hot Topic. American Chavez from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which will be shared with Walmart. A brand new crossover of pops of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which we got Leonardo as Blue Ranger, which we shared with Toy Tokyo, and Donatello as Black Ranger, which we shared with the Funko Shop. Laser Power He-Man from Masters of the Universe, which will be shared with Toy Tokyo. Serpendor from G.I. Joe, which will be shared with GameStop. And last but not least, a 10-inch Unicron from Transformers, which will be also shared with GameStop. Kicking off with the metallic Charmander, which a lot of people already knew about this because originally this was slated to be a WonderCon exclusive, and we even seen pictures of the pop with the sticker. So this was probably part of like shipment delays, and so they moved it to SDCC. How do I say anything good about this pop? Because it's just another specification. There was Flocked in 2020, Diamond Collection in 2021. Now in 2022, we're getting metallic. This is meh. However, I know it's probably going to sell out because the Comic-Con exclusive pops, unlike the commons, actually retain a decent amount of money on the secondary market. We got the new version of Spider-Man 2099 for the Beyond Amazing collection. And this is a pretty unique take on Spider-Man 2099. This is for the video game of Spider-Man. So it definitely makes sense instead of getting like the regular like blue and red outfit that we normally see. We got He Who Remains, which is what the pop's called, even though a lot of us know that it's Kang the Conqueror from Loki. And this is also pretty decent. I feel like with this pop, and I guess I might as well talk about the Ms. Minutes pops, were kind of like the last two pops, in my opinion, that I feel a lot of people who are trying to get a complete set of Loki pops we're pretty content with as terms to there probably won't be any more Loki pops after this, even though I think there are a couple that have yet to be announced, but we've seen other retailers share photos of the pops that are going to be released. I don't know how many people are hyped about it at the moment because of the fact that Loki's hype kind of died down since the show came out a year ago, and we should have gotten this pop maybe New York Comic Con the latest, which I believe it was supposed to be New York Comic Con, but obviously because of the pandemic and shipment delays that this kind of had to be delayed for a different con. So I guess that's why we have it so late. And then we have the Ms. Minutes, which a lot of people really wanted a separate Ms. Minutes pop besides the Pop and Buddy with Rorona Renslayer or whatever her name is. There's mixed hype. There's a lot of good hype because we got a Ms. Minutes pop, but there's bad hype because it's a 10-inch pop. So a lot of people don't want to have a 10-inch pop just sitting in their collection because it takes up a lot of room. But at the same time, it does give, I guess, an accurate representation of what the size of Ms. Minutes would be to an actual human. So I guess in that sense, it definitely makes sense. And the whole glow-in-the-dark aspect, did it really need to happen? Not exactly, but I guess it's an added touch since the original tiny Ms. Minutes pop is not glow in the dark. We got Silk for the Marvel lineup, and this is pretty decent. I like how it's on a stand there because obviously Silk, I would assume, is swinging because her attire seems like she's all covered in webs. I would assume. I don't really know about like actual Marvel comic book characters like this all that well, but I do like the detail also of her hair being on the one side because if she is swinging, there's probably some wind, so the hair will move into the one direction. So I really like that. America Chavez from Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness, which I think this is okay. There's already, I think, 2 other pops for America Chavez, and I don't know what's going on in the scene because I haven't seen this movie yet. This is really interesting. Probably the best America Chavez pop, I'd have to say, just because of that star that's going on in the background that I have no idea what's going on, but it's intriguing me to go watch the movie because of the way this pop looks. We got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Rangers crossover pops of Leonardo and Donatello. And these are how you do crossover pops, not what we got with Fortnite and essentially, what was it, Street Fighter, where it's just 2 common pops slapped into a 2-pack with an exclusive sticker. This is how you mash up a character from a certain series with more characters. And definitely makes sense that Leonardo is the Blue Ranger because already Leonardo has the blue mask. And the Donatello, because there's no Purple Ranger in Power Rangers from what I remember, they obviously had to go with a different suit. And I feel like that's going to be the same case if they eventually do Michelangelo and Raphael. Raphael would obviously have to have the red suit because there is a Red Ranger, but there's no Orange Rangers. So there would have to be a different suit for Michelangelo, maybe pink, maybe green, even though the skin color is already green for the turtles. I don't exactly know. White Ranger, maybe White Ranger. Regardless, I think this is a cool mashup of pops. And I think they should continue this with other different lineups of pops, whether it's in Marvel and DC, maybe some sort of movie mashup. I don't know, but this is pretty sweet for the Retro Toys lineup of pops. Then we got the Laser Power He-Man, which there's also mixed hype with this because of a few reasons. First off, it's a Toy Tokyo exclusive. So if you are planning on getting that Leonardo pop from Toy Tokyo, you will be forced to get this pop to go along with it since Toy Tokyo always sells them in the bundles. And the fact that it's another He-Man pop, and a lot of people were expecting a Tila pop because we have not gotten Tila yet for Masters of the Universe. And at this point, will we ever get Tila? I don't exactly know, but this is pretty decent though. I like the metallic effect because of the attire that He-Man is wearing and especially the laser power sword that he has in his hand. I think this is okay. We got Serpentor from G.I. Joe, and this is a pretty unique looking pop. This kind of looks like this would be like an Emerald City Comic Con pop because the main color is green, but it does fit with the 2 colors for SDCC of green and essentially yellow/gold. So I guess that's pretty cool. And the overall attire and just the way it looks, pretty decent, even though I have no idea what this character is. And last but not least, we have ourselves the 10-inch Unicron from Transformers. And I think this is a wicked looking pop. This has a lot of detail, especially with the wingspan, the different colors involved. I always enjoy the majority of the time the Transformers pops because especially with the exclusives, it is just brand new instead of repeats of Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Bumblebee, even though we have gotten repeats, but not that often. So it's cool that we're getting newer characters, especially this one being in a 10-inch form. As terms to my favorite and least favorites for day 3, I'm going to have to go with America Chavez for my least favorite just because I don't really know nothing about that, even though I was going to go with Metallic Charmander, but obviously that is a couple evolutions before my favorite Pokemon of Charizard. And my favorite probably has to be the Leonardo as Blue Ranger. I think that looks really awesome, and I think it will be a top seller as terms to all the Comic-Con exclusive pops.
Okay, the final day of San Diego Comic-Con, starting off with the Metallic Charmander. Yeah, I think it was pretty obvious that we were going to see this eventually, and it's not great. It's definitely not great. I do like that we're not seeing new variants of Pokemon though for cons, so I can't really complain too much. But I don't know, did we need metallic? I feel like there could have been other things that could have been done for these con pops for Pokemon at least. Like let's see Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur thrown in a 3-pack. I would honestly take that over getting these metallic variations, or even if you go back with the flocked ones and all the different things. So yeah, not great, but it was expected. And then we have another Beyond Amazing Spider-Man pop, and this one is okay. I don't know if I'd exactly say this should be a con pop or not, but I do think it looks all right. There's some cool detail going on with it, and it's a cool take on Spider-Man, so that's all right. And then we have the character from Loki. I still haven't finished Loki, though it's been out for what feels like forever now. But I do think that it was decent what I seen. So this pop is okay. I like the way that the color is with the purple and the green. It definitely pops out very well. Is it a good con pop? I would say, yeah, I think it is a good con pop, but not one of my favorites. And then we have Miss Minutes, and I don't know how I feel about this. I think that it makes sense to do a Miss Minutes pop on its own, but I don't think it should be glow in the dark. I don't know how well that glow is even going to be, and I don't know if it exactly even makes sense to be glow in the dark. And it being a 10-inch pop, like, are people really that big of fans of Ms. Minutes to get a 10-inch pop when I think this easily could have just been a regular 4-inch pop without glow in the dark? And I think it would probably sell a whole lot more that way. And then we have Silk, which is actually really cool. I'm super pumped about this. This is a cool character, and the way that they executed the pop looks great. I think that this is a good example of Marvel con pop. And then we have America Chavez, and this is an okay looking pop. I like how the stars in the background like that. I think that's pretty cool. The pop overall looks good. And yeah, I can't wait to watch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I've heard that it is a crazy movie, that it's kind of scary, even a little bit like low key, like a horror movie almost. So I'm pretty excited about that. And this pop is pretty decent. I don't mind it. And then we have the Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles mashup pops of Leonardo as the Blue Ranger and Donatello as the Black Ranger. And this is just crazy. This is insane. I was so pumped to see this. I was never expecting this, and I'm so happy that it's here. And like DK was talking about, obviously, we probably will see the other two Ninja Turtles as Power Rangers. And yeah, I think Leonardo would have to be the Red Ranger, or not Leonardo, Raphael would have to be the Red Ranger. And then Michelangelo, I think, would be the Green Ranger. I don't think that they would make it the Yellow Ranger or the Pink Ranger because they are female characters. And I think the Green Ranger makes just a little bit more sense than the White Ranger. So if I had to predict, I think that that's the way they would do it. And hopefully they do, because I definitely need to have all four of those pops. And then we have the laser He-Man, and this is not great. I'm not a huge fan of how the metallic looks with the like teal color and then like the silver on the gloves. I don't mind the pop, but there's just something about that metallic that just really throws this pop off and makes it look kind of weird. And then we have the G.I. Joe pop, and this is pretty cool. I like how the character looks. I think that it's got some detail that's pretty nice, and the head sculpt is really wild as well. I can't wait to see this in person, because I feel like looking at like the side window of the box, you can definitely get a total feel of what that head is going to look like. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome. And then lastly, we have the new Transformers pop, and this is pretty sweet. A jumbo sized pop, which is definitely cool for a Transformer. And there's a ton of detail going on with this. I think this looks great, but when do the Transformer pops really ever let us down? So my least favorite pop from day 3, I'm going to go with the He-Man, because there's just something weird about it. And then my favorite pop from day 3 has to be the Leonardo, though the Donatello is definitely a close second, because both these pops are just wicked, so amazing. I'm so pumped for them.
Before we move on to the top 10 Funko Pops of June 2022, Funko just announced another SDCC exclusive on their social media platforms for the prequel of Game of Thrones called The House of Dragon, which we will not be discussing about that pop on the podcast until we discuss the rest of June 2022 pops in the next couple of weeks, actually, which we'll get into why maybe next week on the podcast. So that will be mentioned on that podcast in a couple of weeks. But now we can move on to the top 10 Funko Pops of June 2022. We might as well kick off with MD Shady, like usual, with his number 10 pick.
All right, so coming in at number 10 on my list is the Penguin in the Duck Ride Papa Rides. I think that this is pretty cool. This is a pretty decent variation of Penguin, and you get this really cool ride as well. So that's great. And it's interesting. I don't think we see like Papa Rides a whole ton for any cons, never mind San Diego Comic-Con. So this is pretty sweet, and I'm glad to see it.
Coming in at number 10 on my list is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Walmart exclusive Jeremy Jam from Parks and Recreation. For just a simplistic human character, they put a lot of detail, especially with the facial expression, into this pop. And there is a decent amount of hype because it is a new character that hasn't been made yet into pop form for Parks and Recreation. And I had a little bit of a personal reaction, but I do possibly see this pop not making it onto the list when we do the update in a couple of weeks.
Moving on to number 9 on my list, I have the Walmart exclusive Hawkman. I believe is the name of the character, at least. It's a really cool pop. I like the detail with it, and the kind of cool dynamic pose with this figure is also pretty great. I like it a lot better than the common, and that's why it made it on the list.
Coming in at number 9 on my list, it is the Books A Million exclusive Kyoka Jiru with guitar from My Hero Academia. Really cool character from My Hero Academia, and I like this version better than the common because she's playing the guitar. Although it's not Tokoyami playing the guitar, which I like that character better.
Moving on to number 8 on my list, I have the Young He doll from Squid Game. This is really cool. I think it's long awaited for the first set of Squid Game pops that we got. I mean, just a really iconic, probably the most iconic thing. I mean, you see that doll so much in the memes. And I mean, it's the first episode. If you're going to watch an episode, it's obviously going to be the first one. So most people will know of the scene that this character, I guess you could say, is from. And I think that the pop overall looks pretty great.
Coming in at number 8 on my list is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Hot Topic exclusive Starfire from Justice League. This is a really cool looking pop with the detail involving the base, the hair, how the orange skin really pops out well, especially with the green eyes. I think overall this is a really cool pop and will be one of the top selling Funko Pops as terms to San Diego Comic-Con this year.
Coming in at number 7 on my list is the Supersonic first appearance. This is a pretty awesome looking pop. We love getting Sonic pops, which doesn't seem to happen too often anymore, besides like some of the ones that we've seen just recently with the Tails and then now the Knuckles, which is awesome. So Supersonic, though there already is a version of Supersonic, I do like this one better and think that it's an awesome con exclusive.
Coming in at number 7 on my list is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Funko Shop exclusive 6-inch Young He doll from Squid Game. Really cool. Love the fact that they're finally doing a pop of, you can't even really say it's a character, it's more of a statue in the game because of red light, green light.
Moving on to number 6 on my list, I have the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Donatello as Black Ranger. I love the idea of this. It makes so much sense to take the Power Rangers and the Ninja Turtles and mash them together. They're just such 90s classics that people always think of. And you kind of think about them side by side as well. So this just makes a whole lot of sense for Funko to do. I think they look awesome. And I mean, the Donatello is great.
Coming in at number 6 on my list, it is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Box Lunch exclusive Gran Torino from My Hero Academia. This pop looks awesome with the detail involved. Even though it is a simplistic look for a character in My Hero Academia, they put a lot of detail, especially with that kind of smoky base that's involved and the detail of the hair and the mask. I think this is really cool, and it's a character that should have been made a long time ago for the My Hero Academia lineup.
Now making it halfway through the list, we are at number 5. And number 5 on my list is Chrysanthemum from the Book of Boba Fett. I think that this pop looks so amazing. I think that a lot of people definitely wanted to see this character in pop form, and we get it flocked for San Diego Comic-Con, which is just awesome. This is a great pop.
Coming in at number 5 on my list is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Walmart exclusive glow in the dark first appearance Supersonic. They did a pretty great job with this Funko Pop. The pose that it's in, the fact that it's glow in the dark, and it's on a stand. But I felt like the stand could have been a little bit better, like I mentioned earlier, where it's like an energy base. And I think this could have been shot up into at least the top 3 portion of my top 10 list per se.
Coming in at number 4 on my list, I have the GameStop exclusive RVD Pop and Pin. I really think that this is cool. I love the attire that they chose for this RVD, and he comes with the Money in the Bank briefcase that is customized like he had it. And then you also get the cool WrestleMania 22 pin, which is my favorite WrestleMania. So it's a pin that I'm definitely going to want to have. And just an awesome WWE pop that I think is long awaited. Though I think that if the hair was a little better, that it might have been able to make it a bit higher on this list.
Coming in at number 4 on my list is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with GameStop exclusive Krishantan Flocked Pop from the Book of Boba Fett. This is a great looking pop. The fact that it's flocked is probably why it's even in the top 5 portion. If it wasn't flocked, it probably would have still been in the top 10, but much lower, like maybe even close to the bottom of the list. But the fact that it's flocked is great. It's something we've been waiting for a while.
Now making it to the top 3 of our lists. On my list, coming in at number 3, I have the Hot Topic exclusive Disney Villains Scar with the hyenas. I think that this is awesome. You get 4 pops basically for, I guess it's more than your normal 4-inch pop value, but I do think that you definitely do get a good bang for your buck here with the characters. I love how it kind of has that green kind of hue to it, and I'm really enjoying this Disney Villains set so far, and this pop is definitely awesome.
Coming in at number 3 on my list, it is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Toy Tokyo exclusive Leonardo as Blue Ranger for the TMNT Mighty Morphin Power Rangers crossover. This is a really cool looking pop. I love this idea of crossover pops. They need to do this more often, like this, not the way that I mentioned earlier about Street Fighter and Fortnite. I think they did a great job, and I can't wait to see Michelangelo and Raphael when obviously they probably will have to be turned into this at this point when you already have the 2 pops. You're not going to leave Funko fans hanging with just only 2 of the turtles being transformed into Power Rangers.
Coming in at number 2 on my list, I have the San Diego Comic-Con Target shared Hugsy from Friends. Like I said, this isn't even a character in the show. It's just a plush that one of the character owns, but it does get brought up multiple times in the show. And I think that huge fans of Friends are definitely going to want to get their hands on this, considering I don't think there's much Hugsy merchandise out there. So this is awesome. It definitely came unexpectedly, besides the fact that it was spoiled for me, but still, when I saw the spoiler, I was completely shocked. Never thought we'd see something like this for the Friends lineup of pops.
Coming in at number 2 on my list, it is the Linkin Park Reanimation Pop albums. I think the detail on this is really cool, especially the pop that's involved with it. But I think the reason it did not make it to number 1 is the fact that it's not one of their studio albums. There was a little bit of hype towards Meteora and the potential pop albums of that over the fact that there is a Reanimation Pop albums. And then some people still not knowing that there's a Hybrid Theory pop albums out there and wondering where that was. So there was a little bit of bad hype, but the detail is great. And it even brought up my personal reaction because Linkin Park has had some pretty cool pop albums so far with the 2 that have happened. And hopefully, yes, we do get a Meteora pop album next year for the 20th anniversary.
And then finally, at least so far, my favorite pop for June 2022 is the Toy Tokyo exclusive San Diego Comic-Con Leonardo as the Blue Ranger. I love this. The Blue Ranger was one of my favorite Power Rangers growing up, and Leonardo is my favorite turtle. So this is just an awesome mashup. I love the way the pop looks, and I can't wait to see the other 2 turtles, assuming that we're going to get them. I really hope we do, but so far, this is definitely my favorite one, and so far, my favorite pop of the month.
And number 1 on my list is the Hot Topic exclusive Scar with Hyenas Villains Assemble Pop Deluxe. This thing, even though I have went on record before on saying I'm not entirely the biggest fan of Lion King, as terms to how much bang for your buck you get with this pop is just absolutely insane. 4 characters in one pop, and it's probably only going to cost maybe $40 Canadian because it is a deluxe pop, which is pretty insane if you ask me. You got the hyenas, which were originally a 3-pack for Emerald City Comic Con a couple of years ago, and then you have a cool version of Scars. So if you missed out on, let's say, a Scar pop and you missed out on that Emerald City Comic Con 3-pack that was made, then you can get it in this form, and especially the overall base and everything is just so great, so much hype. People already claiming that this will probably be the best pop deluxe in this Villains Assemble set. So that's saying a lot. Majority of it being hype and not really a lot of bad hype, to be honest. So that personal reaction detail has to be number 1, at least so far, because we still got a lot of June left to go. But anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this week's podcast. If you enjoyed our special 150th edition of a Funko Popcast, make sure you smash that like button. comment in the comment section below and let us know your favorite pop that was announced for San Diego Comic-Con. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's edition of a Funko podcast, and hope to see you guys next week. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Go, go, Power Rangers. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. Peace in, peace out.